Hey there, it's Stone, and this is my video review for Mass Effect 3. Well, the story starts out taking place. You control a character named Shepard. You're going through the galaxy, exploring different worlds, trying to save humanity and the rest of the species, to be exact, by the Reapers, which are kind of a Borg-inspired race from Star Trek. I mean, there's some similarities there, in my opinion. Um, what's so special about this game is it's made by BioWare, and not just because the fact that it's made by them. I like it. I am hard on them sometimes, but they do make great games, and this seems to be one of them. Um, in this game, it takes place in space. Obviously, you're going to meet a bunch of interesting, different kind of characters, races. You're going to interact with them in a lot of different ways. You get to play the story as you choose. Here you just see that I punched a race guy from a race called the Quarians because I didn't like what he was saying. It's really neat in this aspect that you get to like choose your own adventure and build your character in a storyline type of way rather than just through like statistical, choices and building your character with weapon, power-ups and upping your, character's powers. It gives it a real sense of uniqueness to each time you play the game, and you get to share with your friends, what you did differently than them and how your choices through the story varied. That's not to say that you can't choose, power-ups and leveling stats and stuff like that and making your weapons more powerful, because you can. That's also a way to build your character. Um, in this game, you're going to meet a lot of interesting different characters from all different races, and it's really special to me because never before in a sci-fi game or any game that I've ever played has this level of depth to the universe or the game world. The characters you meet feel, as deep in this rich world as Star Wars. They are Star Trek. They really, really put a lot of work into making this seem like an alternative, universe. There's a lot of lore, there's a lot of fan fiction surrounding Mass Effect, and there's a huge fan following. Um, Building on the story, one of the really great things is that it's a trilogy. And when I say trilogy, I'm not talking about just direct sequels. I mean, yes, they are direct sequels from one to the other, but you get to import your character from the previous installments. Say I created a character in Mass Effect 1. Whatever the choices I made, the characters I saved, the characters I killed, stuff like that, the choices you make surrounding the different races and storylines in the game will then transfer over into two if you choose to import that character. If you don't, then you will just start off, with a pre-made character with pre-made, sets of choices that they consider most canonical or whatever. I'm not sure how they determine, what's, the direct line of choices. But yes, if you do play the previous installments, you will be able to import your character's storyline options, and then over into this game, if you played 1 and 2 or just 2, it doesn't matter, you'll get to take those choices into this game and choose whether or not to expand on those choices, or not. You can choose new things, whatever. It's just it's really unique and cool in that way, because I don't know of any other game that really does it like this, where you get to import your character from the prequels, and I hope this is like a new direction that other developers, set their eyes on, and hopefully within the next generation, people make games more like this, because it's crazy unique, and I mean, like, who doesn't want to play a series as a whole and feel like they impact, each game in their own unique way? Um, As far as the combat goes, as you'll see, it's pretty standard third-person cover type shooting gameplay. I mean, there's some unique things in terms of like the amount of weapons here, which in comparison to 2 is a lot more variety. You get special powers and stuff based on your class, which really lets you play the game in your own kind of way. If you choose to be a more like long-range stealthy type class, which is what I like to play, you can choose the infiltrator, and you'll get powers and skills with weapons based around those, that type of gameplay that you choose and the class that you choose. The infiltrator also gets like a slow motion zoom on the sniper weapon, which really helps. I'm not too sure about the other classes because I'm stuck on my infiltrator. I think he's awesome, but yeah, that's not to say that other classes get to play the game in really unique ways, like the adept or vanguard. You get heavy use of biotics, which is kind of like similar to what the Force would be in Star Wars, but I don't know. I've always been stuck personally on my infiltrator style. That's how I choose to play the game, and other games of the similar, genres, I guess you could say. One thing I would like to expand a little bit more on and tell you more about is the level of depth and complexity these characters you'll meet and take along with you on your journey will be. I mean, we're not just talking about run-of-the-mill party members here that have, I mean, they do have set dialogues, and it isn't as dynamic. It's more linear, as I like it to be. But based on your choices and based on how you interact with them, which there are so many different ways, you'll get a very large number of outcomes. I mean, you'll really care about these characters you pick up. You can even go, as you've just seen, and explore romance options with them, whether or not they're even of the same gender. I mean, there's even almost sexual options in this game, believe it or not. But anyway, the point I'm trying to convey is that they really evoke an emotional response, and you really feel emotionally invested in not only the story, but especially what Mass Effect does really well, and BioWare has done really well with this series, is having these characters. It's very character driven. That's where a lot of the major decisions and story, like emotional responses, take place through your party members. And also, so a lot of the missions take place due to different responses and reactions and support of your party members. That's one thing I feel that this series and Mass Effect 3 as a whole has done really well. There are a few differences between the third installment and the second installment in terms of the depth of, or the number of party members that you can pick up. The BioWare stated that they felt that a smaller number of party members in the third game would help them explore more deeply into their stories and give you a more rich background for them. But I don't know that that's quite true. I guess the idea is they sacrifice quantity for quality, but Mass Effect 2 had a really, really deep quality to the characters that you pick up in your party, and Mass Effect 3, while it's definitely on par, I don't know if I would say that they are deeper than Mass Effect 2's party members, which is a little bit disappointing since there are less characters that you are able to take along with you in your journey. There are a couple flaws in the game that I have a problem with. Mostly it surrounds Origin and EA forcing you to get this service on the PC in order to play the game, and you have to play, when you play the single player, it has to be always online. You can't play the game offline. Also, the day one DLC was a big thing for everyone, and I didn't like that too much. But overall, the game is great. 9.9 out of 10. Play this game.